Hey everyone, we'll just get started in a minute once everyone's joined, once the recording is all set up. And we are recording. Let's see if we have everyone here so that we can start. How is everyone doing? It's fine Monday.
Living the dream.
Amazing. All right, just looking at if we have everybody. Yeah, looks like we have lots of us here. Let's kick it off. Welcome to the weekly planning meeting at MetricDAO. As usual, I have the call technicalities here on the screen. We're going to run for 30 minutes, time boxed. Further discussion can be taken offline. This meeting is recorded, and we ask you to please stay muted unless you are speaking or you're asking a question. We'll start with first a quick update actually today on the agenda from CADJam. Then we'll do our guest who, core KPIs, and pod updates. So without further ado, let's hear what CADJam has to let us know.
Yeah, hi guys. I wanted to briefly interrupt our regularly scheduled programming with a personal update, which is that I am leaving my position at Flipside and thus stepping away from my current role at MetricDAO. I can't go any further without saying how wonderful of an experience it's been to be part of MetricDAO and to get to be along for the ride and the amazing growth and progress that this team has made. A seriously amazing team here that I will be gutted to leave. I am sticking around until mid-March or so to make sure that there is a good transition and that everyone who's kind of stepping up and stepping in understands the full breadth of what's going on at MetricDAO. And oh, thanks, Rob. I'm sorry. But really, it has been the experience of a lifetime. And I don't plan to be a stranger either. That's the beautiful thing about DAOs. Hope to remain involved in MetricDAO in some adjusted capacity moving forward. I know too that JJ is here. I don't recognize her screen name, but I know she's around here somewhere, who is on the Flipside executive team and going to talk a little bit about how Flipside is going to adjust Flipside support of MetricDAO moving forward to actually really strengthen leadership presence as I step away, which is awesome. And then after, I'm totally hogging this slide, but after JJ, Brendan is going to share some quick news of his own as well.
Hey, this is JJ. Thank you so much. I just want to introduce myself. I'm JJ. Most of you guys don't know me. I'm a bit of a lurker. I've been around Flipside for a long time, but am delighted to be getting to know some of you guys. I've started to get to know some of you more over the last week, and just want to say how proud I am of what you guys have built. Like it's really cool watching you guys. You've got some really powerful and talented people on this team. I am on the leadership team here at Flipside. None of us can possibly replace Meg. Like this is no one's going to try to. We just want you all to know that the leadership team of Flipside is excited for what MDAO is building and wants to be involved in any way that we can support and help the cool things you're building.
Awesome. Thanks, JJ. And I think you guys can plan to see a lot more of JJ and some other people from the Flipside leadership team around in MetricDAO. All right, Marina, I promise this is my last hijack of your perfectly planned meeting, but I'll pass the mic over to Brendan real quick.
Howdy, folks. I am here to say that I am also moving on from MDAO. I'm moving on from Flipside as well. It's the end of the road for me as well. I have a new job that I'm taking also in the crypto space. But just to echo and even maybe try to say louder than what Meg said, I can't say enough about the folks on this call and in this community. I have had the very explicit pleasure of watching a whole bunch of the folks on this call go from just bounty hunters that GJ and I were desperately begging to complete bounties in the very early Notion days of Flipside to all the bounty programs at Flipside, and now running the show here at MetricDAO. And it's truly been the best part of this job over the course of the past 2 years or so for me, and the part I will miss the most tremendously, along with really working with some fantastic people, including all of you, and especially the folks at Flipside. JJ, who you just heard from, has been my boss for a long time now, and I know you guys will be in great hands with her. And you have folks like GJ and Rochelle and Aaron, who have all been huge supports and mentors of mine as well. So um, I have nothing but warmth for all of you. I very much plan not to be a stranger. I'll be around. Please always feel free to send me a note, drop me a line if I can do anything in the next couple of weeks. I won't be staying on quite as long as Meg. I have this week and next week, but even after that, this Discord account will remain active. So hit me up if you want IRL credentials. Let me know. I'll let you know how to find me in the real world as well. And yes, thank you very much, everybody, for everything over the past 6 months or so at MDAO and past 2 years or so. Those of you who have been with me since the Flipside days.
Wow.
I'm not sure if I'm passing back to Marina or JJ or who at this point.
I was just going to promise Marina that this was all of the news. It is a lot all at once, as you guys can understand, but really focused on good transitions, and this team is going to do amazing things. So full of confidence there. Yeah, and Rob, don't go anywhere. All right, Marina, back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Yeah, wow. What huge updates to start this week and to start this weekly planning meeting. Jim and Brendan, you both know your cornerstones of the space and of MetricDAO, and you will be very sorely missed by all of us, each one of us. I'm absolutely sure. And before I get in my feels, yeah, welcome JJ. We're excited to build with you, and let's get back to the rest of the meeting on a much lighter note. We are back with our weekly Guess Who. So this person's first job ever was lifeguarding. Can you guess who that is? We have some guesses, and yeah, we're trying. I'm trying to get back to normalcy as impossible as that is. But let's see. For Glee, GJ, no, none of the guesses are correct so far. Aaron, that's no, none of the guesses are right so far. If someone wants to unmute as well, that's cool too. Not Zook. Oh, I love that it's a hard one. Is this person here? This person is on this call. This is your hint. Not Vaida. All right, this is getting interesting. The last one was easy, at least I think. Kaja must if it's her.
It was my first job, but I don't think I ever told you that.
All right, so then we have two. I love that. There is one more person on this call. Rochelle says Hannah. Yes, that's Rochelle. Rochelle, if you have your mic on, do you have a story?
It was very stressful to not say anything. Yeah, wow, we're twins. Yeah, first official job, summer camp in Wisconsin, lifeguarding. And I loved it. It was super fun. Sorry this was so hard. I'm glad we went around like everyone else on this call.
I'm kind of glad it's a harder one to guess because I feel like we're usually guessing quickly and like everyone's so good at this. So this is keeping things interesting. So yeah, and we have two people. Maybe someone else has lifeguarded in this group as well. All right, so let's do our, as usual, a reminder of the season 3 goals. We're preparing for liftoff coming soon, and that includes 3 things: to seamlessly transition bounties from Flipside to us, which is very much underway. Second thing is to distribute Xmetric, which we already passed 2,500 holders, and to grow activated analyst community, analysts, aka users who submitted a bounty to 550. And let's start with looking at those KPIs and then getting into some pod updates. So let's start with Aaron and the KPIs.
Thanks, Marina. Yeah, so let's start with some Xmetric holders. We are seeing a change from last week where roughly, I believe it was 60 new holders. We're 10 holders away with 2 days left in the month, so we're definitely technically going to hit the goal. We won't pay out Xmetric to the end of the week, but I'm keeping a track on that, and I do believe we already have 10 unique holders today. So we technically have hit that 3,000 Xmetric holders number for the month of January. So a huge shout out to all the teams involved in that. It's great to see back on track once again. We essentially have doubled our numbers in just 1 month's time from December to January. So that's awesome. With that as well, we can see with challenges for the month of January, we're currently at 35, and that will be the number of challenges. Once again, I'm only counting analytic challenges currently, so this does not count reviews or brainstorms. So we're over 35 in general as well. We're running a few of them there. And I did start to get a pulse on the month of February and what that's going to look like. These are once again just the analytical challenges. Currently, we already have 39 slotted. We know that there's other partners and potential partners coming in that want more work. So yeah, I'm expecting us to hit 44 analytical challenges next month. But if you also do count the brainstorming activities as well as our review activities, we've already are planning to surpass that 44 number as well. And then as you can see for the month of January for partner spend, we're up a little bit, but once again, caveat there is we have whatever challenges we run in month, those payouts of the following month. So when we really started picking up those challenges in the month of January, you're going to see that payout hit in the month of February. We'll get a better view of what March is going to look like, which is realistically what's that payout from all those challenges that we ran in February as well. We're seeing an increase, but yeah, we're a little bit off from our projections. So we're going to look at those and potentially make adjustments to them as well. All in all, everything is trending in a positive manner, even for partner spend. So that's great to see, which is a positive.
Amazing. Thank you, Aaron, for this update. And let's look at our analytics update. I'll cover this one. So last week, we had 107 active analysts, which is a spike from the week before, as you see on the left bar chart. Our peak number of analysts in 1 week was still the week before Christmas, which was 129, but engagement remains really strong in January, as again, you can see by those bars in the January weeks. Total submissions in January have blown out of the water with 853 total submissions so far, with still a day left in January tomorrow, compared to 585 in all of December. So that's quite a awesome growth. And we also added 19 new analysts who had not submitted prior to the labor markets last week. So the new analyst pool is growing as well. And if there are any other points to add, observations, or questions, I would love to hear those as well from the Bounty Bunch or anyone else. And if there's nothing else to add, let's go to peer review with Patrick.
Okay, thank you. So I'm just echoing a lot of the same data that Aaron and Marina have already stated, except just from peer review perspective. We are still having 30 to 40 volunteers for peer review. Expected turnaround time is still the same. The KPI I pulled is from the January 22nd to 28th, which is last week. Number of submission is 246 over that week, and the number of active analysts is around 102. So, and on the right-hand side, we have, these are the top submissions by challenge. So the top one is Terra, and followed closely by Near. And I have this one thing here from Danner, which is a call out on the mapping of the existing 0 to 12 or 1 to 12 rating against this new metric app scale. So please review that and comment. That is TBD. Yeah, I don't have that yet. So I put in the question mark. So anyone want to fill in? The fourth item from the bottom on the right, please do.
Yeah, the off-chain analytic one would have been, I believe the first one was sports related. The second one, Brendan, correct me if I'm wrong, that's more environment related, and then we're looking to run a healthcare. So we're just testing running off-chain analytical challenges to see if this is an area which we could potentially tap for new clienteles as well. See if we can get some use cases, and then also apply these use cases once the app goes live. Remember that the app and the protocol are built for analytical challenges. They don't necessarily just have to be on-chain.
I also changed it going forward, so that way they won't be question mark, question mark, question mark. It says off chain, and I'll start putting like what the different specialties are in the calendar. So that should hopefully pull through and make it a little bit more clear when you're doing record keeping. But otherwise, Aaron has it pretty much head on.
Yeah, no, that's not your problem. I put those there because from the dashboard that I'm pulling this stuff from, it's actually not stated which event it is. So this is a question for the audience, but we didn't get to update it before the event.
Got it. That makes more sense.
Got it. Thank you for this great collective update, Patrick, Aaron, and Brendan. And be sure to check out the link that Patrick shared in the chat for our discourse discussion on what reviewer scoring might look like. I know Drake and the team are really looking forward to the DAO's input. And if there's nothing else to discuss for peer review, let's see. Zook actually has something to say in chat. Zook suggested to promote these off-chain bounties in our data analytics classes and to our Web2 engineer friends. Love that. Love promoting in the classes. We can definitely do that. And wondering if anyone has the networks of Web2 engineers that we can tap. Brendan, you're unmuted. Did you have?
Oh no, sorry. I think I'm just still on.
Got it. Yeah, hopefully we can plan more of that after the meeting as well. And let's talk more bounty ops with Forg. Is Forg here? Forg's here. I think a couple of us can't hear you, Forg. Let's maybe jump to protocol dev, and maybe we can have Forg back up with sound. No, I don't think any of us can hear any audio. Let's try and jump to protocol dev with Elise and Ed, and hopefully Forg can speak after.
Yeah, so Elise is actually out today, so I'm going to cover this one for her. But this has been a pretty good week last week. You've heard us talk a lot about the indexer. That is this microservice, which is going to be pulling information from the blockchain that we're going to be rendering in the application. And it's finally indexing. Ton of great progress on that last week after a very long, slow start. It was incredibly complicated. And it is an incredibly complicated problem, for the record. But the team powered through and is swarming the remaining pieces of data, the remaining data models to index these days. Which, yeah, it's awesome. That was like our last big chunk of work, and now that this one has had such a huge amount of progress, we're going to start seeing everything come together. There's also been a ton of cleanup in the app, a lot of little bug fixes and style improvements. There's also been, on the contract side, improvements to the reputation engine, the reputation system. This is like our metric, and some of that's been deployed. We're also kind of revisiting some of the review system. We're using like a Likert scale, which is that great, good, awesome, whatever. Sorry, I should know them off the top of my head by now, but I don't. Some improvements to that system as well to help with stack ranking. And the last piece here is the IPFS. That's the Interplanetary File System, I believe it's called. That's where we're going to be hosting metadata around marketplaces and challenges. So not everything has to be on the blockchain. There's going to be additional information like language, English, for example, which isn't a core piece of functionality that business logic is dependent on. It's kind of like a decoration or something that's useful to know. We're going to be storing all that in IPFS, and that integration kicked off last week. So yeah, this week, everyone involved, and it's a lot of people doing a lot of hard work, are swarming on getting the entire end-to-end flow working as roughly, very roughly, as possible, just so we can kind of have that entire pipeline, the entire flow possible, so that we can ramp into our QA and testing with some of the governors. And that's our update. Are there any questions or thoughts? Happy to talk more.
Ed, I do see one question from Lee in the chat about, are the bounty questions on chain or on IPFS?
Yeah, so the questions are going to be defined on chain. I actually don't know offhand if the text of the question will be on chain or on IPFS. I can confirm that and get back to you. But every question will be uniquely represented on chain. It just might not be, like, we might be putting the name and description within the metadata bucket. Like, the way that I think about it is if we have to make business logic based on the information, it has to be on chain. And so, for example, a question's end date will be on chain because we have business logic dependent on that. Whereas, like, we're never going to parse the title of a question in our business logic. That's only really to be shown in the UI for users. And so, arguably, that doesn't have to be on chain. Did I explain that well?
Yeah, that's super helpful. Thank you.
Cool.
Also wanted to mention on the Likert system, Zook had a good question on the forum about, why are we using this system versus maybe the 12-point scale that we've used up to this point? There are a couple reasons. One of them being like just our ability to handle kind of that logic on chain or to be able to rate things against each other relatively. But the important piece of the system is that it's very modular. So this Likert system that we're going to try out is one of 2 or 3 or 4 systems that have been developed so far. We can continue to define new ones as well. They just need to be supported at the application layer. So this is a place where I'm really looking forward to us kind of getting this in our hands, learning together, and then thinking about the best path forward together.
Thanks, Ed and Drake, for those updates. Are there more questions? I know Zook, you're typing. Yeah, bounty creators can pick and choose an evaluation method. Super, super, super excited for the app and all of this come to life, to be honest. And now let's see if we can have Forg. Do we hear you? Yes. Yes, hi.
All right, so bounty ops, take 2. We are now running around 8 to 10 bounty challenges per week, which are launching on Wednesdays and Fridays, and that is also incorporating flash bounties. If you don't know what those are, they are bounties with a quicker turnaround time, I don't know, 24 to 48 hours, something like that. Those are only in the regularly scheduled set of bounties. Payments sent to finance for 3 batches, 16, 17, and 20. Reviews have been completed and are being finalized for 6 batches, 15 through 25, no sequential. And reviews in progress for 3 remaining batches, 23, 24, and 26. There was a launch of a new brainstorming activity to request community feedback in designing and implementing a dashboard for our own MetricDAO treasury. And then upcoming for this week, there's a catch-up needed for some payments through batch 25. Going to work on increasing internal documentation for review and payout processes. And then some concerns of blockers, some effort required to weed out plagiarism. I think it's a very important topic. Some amounts of backlog on the task list. And then I got to focus some efforts on supporting the app launch. And those are battle apps.
Thanks, Forg. Anyone have any questions? Anything to mention? Otherwise, let's go to BizDev presented by Nan.
Hey everyone. So last week there was a bunch of meetings with the Regen team and Polygon DAO were about partnerships. Ocean was about their new ask for an ETL pipeline, and they just started conversations with Synthix and Mochi. This week we're going to send out a proposal to the graph. I assume Aaron and Drake headed that. We're going to work more with Polygon DAO and how the partnership would work exactly. We're going to keep talking to Synthix and Mochi and also about Ocean about probably their new ask. And we're going to formalize the official partnership with Regen and continue outbound work into Web2 companies and applying to grants there also.
Thanks, Nan. If there are no questions, let's move on to DAO Ops. And we have two pieces here, governance with Drake, and then after that, treasury with Lee. Let's start with Drake.
Awesome. Thank you, Marina. So this past week, we've got something up on the forum to get GJ established as the signatory for the MetricDAO Corporation. I see GJ typing in the chat right now, probably trying to convince you all to agree with this. I'm kidding, but I think this would be, something that we just want to all be aware of. We've also ratified a couple of proposals through our governance process, one of which being MetricDAO and data providers accepting kind of paid engagements there. That's actually something that works well for our approach with the graph, just to have clarity on our policies. We've also got the flip side asset transfer agreement, which was really important for the further decentralization and kind of clarification of how these two organizations work together. This week, we've got a few things in motion, a Gov handbook. So this is kind of like how do the different processes work, something that could be given to folks when they onboard or just want to understand how to participate more in governance. We're also working on a bylaws translation, something that CADGM made us aware of last week, a little bit of some discrepancy between the Constitution and the bylaws. We are legally bound to follow the bylaws, so we're just working to make sure that those are properly represented in any documentation, and that we're not trying to create other systems that might disagree with those. So we can recognize different social processes in governance, but we do need to follow these legal guidelines set up in the bylaw. We also do kind of have this open thing that we're working on around multi-sig best practices, just trying to get some policies in place so that the team has some clear guidelines when we're spinning up new multi-sigs or making changes to the signers. Nothing here on concerns or blockers from me right now, so I will hand it over to whoever is covering Treasury.
Hey, can you all hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes, can hear you.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so this week for Treasury, multi-sigs were created for Osmo and Solana chains, and we'll be running tests this week. And batches 16, 17, and 20 were uploaded for signing, so hopefully those will be get out soon. And the priorities for this upcoming week are paying contributors for January. So if you haven't submitted your contributor form, please do that ASAP. And then also uploading more bounty payments, as was mentioned in the bounty ops slide. Some more payments will be sent to Treasury shortly. And I think that's all. And let us know if there's any questions or comments.
Thanks, Drake. Thanks, Lee. Doesn't seem like there are any questions, so let's go to curation presented by James.
Awesome. Yeah. So past week accomplishments, discussing inbound interest with Syntax for projection-based curation. They want activity on ETH and OP modeled out and available in the Flipside tables. Next step is to determine full scope and funding process. Also had discussions with EVMOS in progress. Overall scope is to be determined. This week priorities, get a meeting on the books and discuss a grant and get the project moving forward, and no blockers.
Woohoo! No blockers. Love that. Thanks, James. And we have last but not least, the long slide that we always have for growth. And we have Zook presenting growth.
Hi, thank you, Marina. So let's start with accomplishments from the past week. The NEAR webinar was piloted by the team, and a new webinar called Intro to DAO was prepared. Now, updates on Web3 analytics course. Session 3 was hosted, where learners advance their SQL skills. And there are 9 study groups that are active in the course. And some of the alumni from previous courses have become teaching assistants, which is great. Terra Mega dashboards were promoted on Twitter. Now, priorities for this week in growth. The Intro to DAO's webinar will be hosted this coming Thursday, and the Algorand course has been uploaded on Teachable. All courses will be promoted, and we have a variety of courses on many different blockchains. This Thursday, a very special Twitter space with Lex Sokolin of Consensus. So Consensus is the company behind the MetaMask wallet. So congratulations on the team for getting this special guest on the Twitter space this Thursday. The team will create more content that highlights takeaways from the best submission, and the book club will be back later this week. Um, so the team will also promote some upgrades that were made to the peer review process, which we haven't really talked about today, but our colleague Kakamura has implemented some major upgrades to our tooling on the peer review process. So some of these upgrades will be communicated by growth. The data dictionary is making progress as well, and seems like their objective is to define one term per week. GJ will be talking to Footprint on their community call, and the previous interview we had with Idolby will be turned into a blog and tweeted. So those are the updates for growth. Feel free to ask any questions. Otherwise, I'll pass the mic back to Marina.
Thank you, Zook. If there are any questions, happy to answer, and also happy to take them async and chat with our team answering those. But yeah, it's an oddly normal ending to this kind of momentous weekly meeting, but this is the best I got. We are building, shipping, doing big things, also going through changes. So we will miss a couple of our really core team members, but we're also excited for what's to come. That's the best I got for this. Again, bigger than usual, maybe a weekly meeting. And unless anyone has anything to add, have a great week, everyone. And we'll see you around. Thanks all.
Thanks, Marina.
Bye.
Thank you for facilitating.
Have a good week, everybody.
You too.
Good night. See you later.
Bye.
Thank you, Marina. Bye bye. Bye, everyone.
Thanks. Bye all.